with a Countdown Online Extra, and my guest is Janeane Garofalo, who I back announced, giving you credit on the air during the show for a show that was canceled.
Yes, it was on the bubble, as they say, and then it was canceled.
Are you disappointed by this?
I'm always disappointed not to have a job, but I can't honestly say that the content of the show was my cup of tea.
It was one of the 45 million investigative forensic things.
Well, there's only a couple, right? There's only
a couple of franchises.
There's only a couple of franchises, right? We do need more crime procedurals, more legal procedurals, shows about doctors who care. That would be nice if somebody could do a show about a doctor who cares about things and people.
While he's doing some sort of investigative forensic.
And can actually go to your apartment and look for clues.
That's right.
I don't know how you can do that, but they do that on House. They go to your apartment and look for clues. And no one minds.
I wanted to talk about some of the news of the day.
Sure.
Particularly as it relates to the last time we sat down 2 years ago, where you aired out the then nascent Tea Party and called them what they were.
Racist.
And you called them that, and I think this is still resonating in that community as if you said it yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you take pride in this?
Well, I do not enjoy when people don't like me. Yeah. I would prefer to be well liked in any and all situations, and I also feel it's quite unjust to be punished for calling racism racism. Yeah. And I don't know why so few people, especially back then, a couple of years ago, were willing to say that word. It is unfortunately not only a part of the fabric of this country from its founding, racism, not just our country, but there's been oppression in any country, any era. There has been racism in our country since its founding. It would be odd if it didn't exist now that we have a black president. That would be weird. And when anybody says to me, what makes you think the Tea Party is racist? What makes you think they aren't? How is it that one of the first Tea Party gatherings was on Inauguration Day? What job that he had been doing were they upset with?
Didn't like the transition.
Apparently. How is it that the Southern Poverty Law Center has been tracking spiking in these hate groups and racist motivated crimes since he announced, you know what I mean, all this activity? If John McCain had won, we would have never heard the word Tea Party. Now, some of it is because of a Democrat, and as you know, the blood sport of the Republicans is to be intractably against anything a Democrat would say. But if it was a white Democrat, you couldn't get so many Tea Party people so upset about whatever it is they're upset about, showing up armed to town hall meetings. And by the way, if a black person showed up armed at a town hall meeting where a white politician was speaking, we'd be on lockdown, martial law, and we'd never hear the end of it. And it's clearly a limbic brain thing. It's not a populist movement. It's not a fiscally upset movement. It's a movement, and that's the rationalization that it's something other than racism. Right.
It doesn't have to make any sense to anybody but them, and they reach for it. It's like, okay, we don't like them because of healthcare reform, which helps all of us here.
Which we would benefit from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A self-defeating thing.
Death panels, birthers, the birth certificate, this nonsense. And from what I've heard, John McCain actually was not born in this country. Is that right?
He was born in the Canal Zone.
He was born.
So he technically is. That's considered.
But what I'm saying is he technically wasn't born in America.
He was not born in the continental United States.
Right.
Right.
I don't know who has a problem with that.
Well, isn't that not the essence of the Republican sort of mirror, that anything that they're actually that anybody in the Republican Party or conservative movement is guilty of?
You accuse the other of it.
Exactly.
Right. Rick Santorum with his comments about.
One can only guess.
How about Rick Perry? We have to stop apologizing to liberals for our beliefs. We have to stop trying to curry favor with them.
Yeah.
It is absurd to me and he knows he's lying. The liberal media trope, that has always been a myth that is leveled at someone, and unfortunately, a lot of people in the media will back away from being perceived as many.
Right.
All. Until recently.
Right here. I'm the liberal media.
Right. Until recently, and like The Nation, when they say that great liberal media bias you can't find anywhere else.
Exactly.
There is no liberal media bias. There's never been a liberal president. There's never been a liberal machine in power, per se. And you're quite right. Anything that the right-wingers are doing you will know what they're doing by what they accuse their opponent of doing.
An illegitimate president. This is an illegitimate president.
Right.
What is that? That is a mirror of George Bush and the election.
Who was installed in a legal Supreme Court by Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas should have recused themselves since they had family members working on the Bush campaign.
Exactly. Now that's an interesting topic. Family members and the Supreme Court, particularly Clarence Thomas, and his wife, who is this sort of...
She's a Tea Party activist.
She's a rabid Tea Party activist and
Explain
fundraiser.
that one to me. Now, you have an African-American gentleman married to a white woman who is in cahoots with a group that has a lot of racists in it. Is that Stockholm Syndrome on his part, or what's going on?
You just explained why they're not actually racists. The answer to every answer that I got from any group that was associated with the Tea Party to the interview we did 2 years ago was, look at this videotape, look at how many black people we have in our Tea Party.
How many did they
have? But it did make a difference. That's not the answer. The answer is you could be 100% white and not be racist.
Right.
I mean,
and
it's
you could
possible.
have 99% black and still be racist.
One assumes it. I mean, it's a tougher construction, but it's possible. But the first half of it's absolutely true. You don't have to be. You don't have to be integrated. I mean, if it's a family of white people, that doesn't make them racist because they're all white people.
Right.
But the point is, the defense is, oh look, we have this person right over here. So the answer to all those questions is, but one of our members is married to the black justice on the Supreme Court.
Right.
So what you just addressed was not a problem for them. It's a solution.
It is something that does give me pause, though. I don't. Now, it may be cynically motivated by monetary concerns on her part, so she'll align herself with whomever seems prudent to be aligned with. It just would seem like Clarence Thomas at some point would have some type of dark night of the soul, saying, "Wow." I should be insulted by this, that my wife is involved with the Tea Party. But the Tea Party is in and of itself, like I said, if John McCain were president, or even if Hillary Clinton were president, now there'd be something astroturfing going on, some fake grassroots something going on.
Well, it'd be about Bill.
But it would be, they'd stand in her way just because she's a Democrat.
Right. Yeah, but using Bill rather than, so they wouldn't be perceived as attacking a woman.
Right.
I think they'd be a little bit more reluctant to do that than they are attacking
that's true.
an African American.
Although I would say misogyny does trump racism 8 times out of 10, though, in any social construct. So.
But when you get it out in front on the political, it doesn't work anymore on the political scale. It's one of these things. Even the Republicans they throw women at the problem.
Right.
Right. So I think they're much more sensitive, not to the issue, but of being caught, being guilty of it. Whereas they're still willing to dance along this unfortunate conga line of racism. They're still willing to trot that.
Right. Well, they will even call it the Southern strategy. I mean, like it actually is codified in a way, the Southern strategy, or the law and order vote, which is technically racist. Oh, that's what I should have said about the marijuana thing, the incarceration rate of people.
Yes. Oh well.
Darn it. Can we rewind?
No,
go back?
no, because
that
was live. This is
Do we
on
have
the
an
internet.
app for that?
No, we don't have an app.
Okay.
I got a studio so far.
Got a studio for that.
You know how happy I am just to have a studio?
And it's nice.
I got a studio.
And it's nice and temperate. It's cool.
Yes.
I don't mean cool like hip, although it is.
Thank you.
It's also kind of cool.
I built it myself.
Which is nice. Did you?
No.
That good old Amish carpentry?
No,
You're Amish, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I just lied. I completely made that up.
Okay.
I wanted, before I let you go, I just wanted to veer off into entertainment for a moment, just to conclude, because we've never discussed this because it's so fascinating to discuss the issues of the day with you. But to me, and because they put it back on the IFC channel, the Larry Sanders Show, in retrospect, is better than it was live. And when it was live, I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen.
Oh, on behalf of the showrunners and all, thank you.
How do you feel about something like that from that far? I mean, I have things in my career in the past that people will bring up periodically, and for a while I was like, no, I'm doing this now.
I'm really proud of it.
But then I got to the point of going, dummy, they remember this from 20 years ago or whatever.
It's really, I feel, it was my first acting job.
Yeah.
And so that was amazing right out of the gate to get to work for Gary, who was a great boss, by the way, really wonderful, and encouraged improv and all of that. So it was a wonderful first acting job. Had I known it wasn't always going to be like that, that was like baptism by sweet, creamy chocolate. and then other jobs were not as wonderful as that. But also, I believe that Jeffrey Tambor, most especially on the rewatching, his brilliance. You see more and more each time when you watch it.
Everybody, and your part in this included.
Oh, thank
the
you.
consistency of the characters is only visible if you watch at least a bunch of episodes together. Sit down for an hour and a half and watch 3 episodes, any 3 episodes, preferably ones in sequence, but any 3 episodes. There's a consistency to each character that is obviously very tough to do, especially, as you said, if you were a first-time first time actor.
It was yeah. I was actually, that character was modeled on an actual person who used to work at Letterman. So I think the only bad thing for me was a lot of people I think thought I was as dour and kind of
you did
harsh.
that did sort of stick with you for a long time.
It has
didn't
still stuck, unfortunately. Yeah. Once one is pigeonholed, you kind of remain that way. But at least I hope I'm not like that. Maybe I am, and we don't see ourselves, correct, as others see us. But Ricky Gervais once said in an interview that he based David Brent a little bit from The Office, the British Office, on Hank Kingsley's character.
Yes.
And when you know that,
yes.
in the same way like once when you know that Woody Allen says Bob Hope, which you wouldn't know until you watch Bob Hope Road movies, and then you see that thing. Yeah. And so knowing that, it is interesting to see the British Office and seeing Hank Kingsley.
Well, Hank Kingsley, hey now, at any given
fantastic.
moment.
He's great in everything.
Oh, I know. I know him as you do. I mean, I know him. A privilege to know him personally and to know you personally. And he's also just a lovely man. He's just
a
nice, sweet man,
very nice.
And very, very funny and very obliging. And it stays. My friend Jason Bateman, who played his son on Arrested Development, when they're in touch with each other, his emails to Jason are signed Dad. Because they still
Jason Bateman's funny. He handles a line, doesn't he? I had no idea how great comedically he was, and I don't mean that in an insulting way.
Yes.
But he really delivers a line beautifully on that show.
And everything since he's getting his due, and this is really good because the busier he is in movies, the easier he is to beat in the fantasy baseball leagues that we have been together in for 7 years now. So.
Oh, I didn't know you guys were involved in fantasy baseball.
Oh yes. Very much so.
Dirty.
Very, very deadly.
Dirty fantasy baseball.
No, sadly,
it's
it has
not
nothing.
sexual.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I just heard the word fantasy.
No, not in the least.
I'm
it's
sorry.
the opposite of sex.
I don't know anything about sports.
Okay, well, it is. It's the opposite. It's pretending you own a baseball team.
And you put a team together, and there's fantasies involved.
No, that's the fantasy is that you're in charge of it.
Oh,
and
I
you
see.
make trades with
players.
players.
And is it sexual?
No, it's not sexual in the slightest.
It's just baseball.
This is where you got the reputation for being so dark.
Not dark. I'm asking in earnest. I'm being totally Ernest Borgnine with you here. I don't know a thing about fantasy baseball.
Well, that's good.
Daydreaming baseball.
Because neither does Jason Bateman. But I would just drop that altogether.
That bracelet, yes.
Tell me about this because this will liven up your image appreciably. Janeane came into the studio and brought me this lovely
it's a bracelet.
Bracelet full of beads from
Tibet.
From Tibet. Mm-hmm. And you.
I'm a beadist, I guess. I enjoy.
A beadist.
I enjoy beading. Like some people knit.
Yeah.
I have for many years made bracelets. Almost compulsed. My wrists hurt all the time. They're not very good. I mean, I don't have a talent for making jewelry, but I like to make.
It's got a nice balance to it.
Necklaces and bracelets for people, and then I just give them to people.
I'm very touched by it.
But I don't know how to do clasps, as I told you, so it has to be tied on.
You've got to get a clasper.
Yeah.
Get somebody to do. All right. Well, anybody still watching this on the internet is a
Do you think they are?
No.
Or they've gone to their fantasy baseball?
They've gone to the fantasy baseball and checked the waiver wire to see who's available.
Well, hopefully my image has gotten a boost. And my Q rating from this. That would be nice.
We'll do whatever we can. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Janeane Garofalo, who's not in a series right at the moment, but as she said on the show, is available on
Actually, I'm on Delocated, which is on Adult
Delocated?
Swim. It's a show called Delocated.
And Google Maps.
And Google Maps, I think. The guy at the car said wave, and I did on University and Ninth. That was last week. So. And I'm on a series in England on the BBC Three called Ideal.
Oh, BBC Three, which is
it's their comedy, British comedy.
Oh no, I was just going to say make a distribution joke about cable networks, but I'm
Please do. No,
I'm in
honestly,
no
it's
position.
your show. Go ahead.
I'm in no position to make a joke about cable distribution.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
I'm sure it would have been wonderful and funny.
No, it would have gotten me fired 4 days into the new job. We're going to wrap this up before I get fired 4 days into the new job. Thank you, Janeane.
Thank you.